Hey guys, Ycoms here and welcome back to F1 content on my channel. I know some of you have been waiting for that for quite a long time, since I've mainly done some iRacing stuff in the past few months. But I am back with it really. And well, the sole reason for that really is that the new Apex Online Racing season is upon us. I fixed my issues I had in season 14. Well, I think I have, because I've done a couple of socials, which you can see in the background in the past, at the end of season 14. And I'm really looking forward to season 15. I signed up to the PC League. I grinded time trial out like, I don't know, the last time I grinded that much time trial to get into a league was basically when I did my first ever league, which was not even AOR. Like 4 years ago. So yeah, I did quite a lot of laps to secure my spot in this league, since it is obviously, I mean, it is crazy what is gonna happen. This season is gonna be the craziest grid AOR or F1 league racing has ever seen, with esports competition all over the place from last year, and some known names from the sim racing community as well. So it's gonna be insane. You can see the grid. I mean, I think you saw the grid, obviously, like the placements and stuff like that. If you're part of AOR, otherwise you can basically. I think I'll just gonna put them in the video, so you can have a look at them. It is absolutely amazing. I'm so glad to be back. I feel privileged, really, to drive in this league this season. And yeah, in the video I just want to talk really about who's going to be my teammate, what team will I drive for, and my sort of kind of maybe predictions pre-season, what I'm gonna think, who I'm gonna win the championship, and what are my personal expectations really from the season. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, let's talk about my team and my teammate. I'm gonna drive the McLaren this season together with Failer. Which is really cool. I'm really excited about this. We wanted to team up before the season, and well, the main reason for me basically is I want to always have someone as a teammate that I know, which I especially for strategy reasons, that we can figure out the strategy, that we don't you know, steal each other's pit stops and stuff like that, because that's always not really how you want it, or how I want it really. So that's one of the reasons basically why I asked him, and obviously because I know him a little bit as well from previous seasons and stuff like that. And yeah, the McLaren is quite it's an interesting combination, because we were driving the McLaren that time. At that point, we were teammates accidentally, let's put it that way. But in the F1 Esports League Championship from 2017, we both were in the McLaren as well, and we both knew how that went for me. So yeah, maybe that's a good omen to achieve something really good this season. But well, to be honest, I've been absent for a couple of months now on this game. If I look at the playing hours, and I'm not sandbagging, I'm definitely not sandbagging. I will try everything at every single time in these races, and it is just, I mean, I'm just lacking 300 hours, 300 plus hours to the top guys in this game, and yeah, I can't get those back, so I have to deal with it, I guess, and see what I can do. But yeah, in terms of predictions, who do I think is gonna do well in the season? Who do I think maybe is gonna struggle a lot? Well, in terms of the favorites for the championship, I think it's pretty fair to say that we will have the reigning champion again, Formula Danny. Yeah, competing for it. There's no doubt about it. He is one of the quickest, with not maybe the quickest guy in 50% race at the moment. And yeah, he's going to be incredibly hard to beat over the season. But it was at the end of the season really where esports champion Brendan Lee won a lot of races. But I don't like, it is always the thing with Brendan over a season. We've seen that so many times in AOR now in season, apart from season 11 where he just smashed the competition really. it was not the hardest competition as well, but still that was the only season where we saw him really smashing it. And it was like in season 12 and 13 on the Xbox side, it was a lot of races where he had where he was untouchable, he was unbeatable and stuff like that, and that basically got more frequent in season 14 as well. But then there were also those races where he just was either not quite on the pace, or he just did some mistakes which are uncharacteristic for a caliber of his for a driver of his caliber. So it's going to be interesting if he can hold it together for a season. I think he can. I think he might get the championship this season, and it would not really be a surprise to see him up there as well with Danny. Who else have we got? Well, we've got obviously got ACR Timp, which I know quite as well. Know well as well. Wow, that's a word. Brilliant. That's an expression. Anyway, I don't quite think he will stay where he was last season. Sorry, Tino. This is just my prediction. I'm just assuming things really from what I've seen from the outside. I've obviously not raced most of these guys in the past few months, so I probably have not the best insight. But from what I've seen, it is just really the second half of the season where Timp was not quite there. Paired, well, one reason was because most of the times he was not quite on the pace, especially in qualifying, but that got better towards the end of the season, definitely, and partly as well because he was incredibly unlucky with many incidents he caught up in. So yeah, I think he is gonna be very, very high up, but I don't quite think he has, at the moment, I don't think he has the caliber of a Brendan Lee or a Formula Danny to compete for them for 15 races over a season. But we will see, I guess. Then we've got Carrix and Aresi, which are two incredibly fast guys coming over from the PS4 side. I don't really know. Aresi was considered maybe the fastest on PS4 last season, even though he didn't win the championship. That's what I heard at least. So, gonna be interesting really to see how they do. I don't really know too much about them, so yeah, can't really say too much. Marcel Kiefer, someone who really stepped up his game in the last few months. Incredibly, I mean, he's amazing, really, on the pace. I still don't quite think he might be a dark horse in the championship. I think he might be some of those who could challenge like for consistent podiums. He was really, really fast. He was close to winning races a couple of times last season, so definitely he's someone who can challenge for victories in some of the races. Then we've got basically like the old guns basically from previous seasons. Well, Raven is not an old gun from season 13 or something, but he's an old gun like the you know, he's been with AOR and ARL back in the day since like ever. So he's basically like the most experienced driver on the grid, I would say. And then we've got Max, we've got Non-Runner, and we've got Failer. And I think those four will be somewhere in the midfield. I think it is going to be really, really hard. I think Max especially has done a brilliant job towards the end of the season, getting some good points on the cards, with capitalizing on other drivers' mistake, with having good strategies here and there and stuff like that. Raven, I don't really know. He had an up and down season, really. He started very well, then he obviously was absent, then he seemed to not quite have the pace, then he was a little bit better towards the end of the last few races, so don't really know. I would like to see him really challenging for podium, stuff like that, but I think it's going to be very, very hard for either of these four drivers to really do that, also with Non-Runner and Failer. Especially I know from Failer already, like practicing for Melbourne already, he has good qualifying pace, but he is struggling in the race most of the time. Not all the time, but sometimes. And yeah, I don't really know. It's going to be really in the midfield. It's going to be so close. It's going to be close at the top as well, but especially in the midfield, you just don't really know what's going to happen. Then we got two drivers at the end of that top. On the returning drivers, Carl Hamilton and Fabrizio Donoso, which are both very similar, really, in the driver characteristics. They are incredibly fast, but they struggle a lot to finish races. Fab did not get a single point in many races he attended. I don't know how many races he attended, maybe 7 or 8 or something. And Carl Hamilton or Matt Sorensen basically got two times he got points, and he finished 4th and 2nd. So yeah, that's it. If they sort those things out, finishing races, they could definitely like be up there. They have the pace, they have the raw pace, but they just need to deliver really over a 50% race. Then 2 F2 champions coming in, Photon and Sitya. Especially, well, both of them are pretty fast. Both of them Hungarians. So they have a good relationship to Danny, which is maybe one of the reasons why they're so fast now, but I don't really know. They came out of nowhere, really joined F2, and they just really were dominating that second half of the season in that tier, and they were really fast in the time trials as well. So yeah, some people to really watch out. Then someone who are really interesting to see back in F1 games is Graham Carroll. Obviously I know him well from the F1 Esports League Championship, where we had one or two battles. Well, not only one in China really, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how he does. He might be someone, like, obviously you expect him to be up there with the top guys, but as well, like, he is lacking time on the game, and it's now like in the beginning of the game he could really like get his experience over from the sim racing side and transfer it to a new game, which is not new for everyone, but you know, relatively new. And now everyone has competed in the season, so it might be now a little bit tougher for him to win races, but I think he could still do it. I think he might be still someone who could challenge for the title if he attends all the races and yeah, stuff like that. Then we've got Sam, also well known as a very famous French guy in the iRacing community. Well, I've seen his names up and down the field really on iRacing as well. So yeah, I know how fast he is. Also, completely new game for him, so it's going to be interesting how he does when it's not only over one lap, but over a race. But yeah, especially like with these sim racing guys, you can expect like great things from them right off the start, and they might even be all championship contenders in the end, really. Then two returning drivers, Marek and me. Marek, I'm a little bit in two minds, really. He is so fast over one lap. He's really fast over one lap, but like apart from season 12, where he was competing, he has not really shown much in season 14 in the races he attended, apart from getting a tied pole position with Raven at at China. Don't know. Could be someone who could be very higher up than maybe many of us think. But yeah, it's going to be definitely interesting. And then the final two, before I come to myself, is Alexander Dorniden, also a Veloce guy, by the way, as well as Photon and Danny, and Bono House. Dorniden, I think, also someone who is quite common in the sim racing community. I'm not quite sure, that's just what I heard. Pretty good time trials. He was actually only 5,000 behind my time trials, I think it was, or something like that. He was very close to my times, I think. Well, so from the online leaderboards anyway. Yeah, don't really know. Could be really someone, maybe the one I don't know anything about really. So yeah, don't really know. And then Bono House, probably the most famous name in this whole thing. Obviously Vegas E-Race champion, multiple podium finisher in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix series last year. We all know what he can do. It's gonna be interesting. Multiple FSR champion as well on R Factor 2. So yeah, I mean, completely new game for him as well. Same goes to Graham. So for him it's basically like the same thing as Graham Carroll. Get into it, and if they attend all the races, he could really be up there and win races. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the grid really. In terms, really, let's sum it up. In the championship, I think it's gonna be between Danny, Brendan, and maybe as like dark horses it could be Timp, Graham Carroll, Bono House. Marcel Kiefer, maybe one of the PS4 guys as well. This is gonna be like, don't really know, but like those people definitely, I think, could challenge for the title, and it would be no surprise to see either of these locking it up in the end. It's gonna be incredibly close between all of them. But yeah, where do I see myself? Well, basically at the start of the season, it's gonna be tough for me to even get into points. I can assure you that I am not on the pace. I think like I'm not driving bad, but I just, you know, got back into proper practice, and I just see like there is no way I can keep up with the top guys at the moment. There's no way. Maybe I can get to that level towards the end of the season. I don't know if I even have that skill level anymore. But they just, this community just got so quick that I think maybe my train has gone. I hope it has not gone yet. I hope I still can, you know, compete for decent positions. But if I somehow get points in Melbourne, that would be really satisfying, to be honest. And to finish in the upper half of the championship at the end of the season is I think the goal. It's going to be it's an ambitious goal, but I think I have consistency, which not every driver in this grid has at the moment, I believe, and that might give me some advantage over some. But yeah, in terms of that, really, yeah, it's going to be so tough. But I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm just going to, yeah, I'm just going to drive and see how it goes, really, and try to enjoy it, try to practice, and yeah, just go for it, really. In terms of that, really, that's it for the video. I hope it was not too much rambling. I hope it was relatively interesting to hear my thoughts. And yeah, I should maybe mention, I'm definitely gonna attempt recording the races. I have not had any issues with, you know, the social stuff like that. You can see the background, so it should be fine. Also in bigger lobbies, so I'm definitely gonna do that, and I hope everything goes well. And yeah, you'll see AOR highlights on the back of my channel. Isn't that exciting? I hope it is, kind of. But yeah, in terms of that, that was the video. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see us very soon with hopefully the highlights of the first round at Melbourne for AOR Season 15. Bye bye.